How important is strength according to the evidence? Improved performance. Endurance runners' performance has improved with heavy resistance training according to Mikkola et al. 2011. Low reps with high weight training, significant gains in strength and running economy were seen in endurance runners according to Piacentini et al. 2013. 2.5% improvement was seen in 10k running times post 8-week heavy load strengthening according to Damasceno et al. 2015. Effect on tendons. Loading of a tendon creates an upregulation of insulin-like growth factor, and this stimulates healing according to Korn and Scott 2009. Tendon can respond favorably to controlled loading after injury according to Boya et al. 2005. Effect on muscles. Muscle overload leads to immediate local upregulation of mechanogrowth factor, therefore stimulation of hypertrophy, according to Korn and Scott 2009. Effect on the prevention of injury. Muscle building exercises reduce the risk of sporting injury by 68% according to Larson et al. 2014. Strength training reduced sports injuries to less than 1/3 and overuse injuries could be almost halved according to Larson et al. 2014. How to assess for strength. Subjective. You need to question about their lifestyle, work, hobbies, etc. If their hobbies, work, etc. require strength and they don't do any of this type of exercise, then they are at risk of injury. You can already be formulating from the sport or work that they do to work out what muscles need to be strong. For example, if they run marathons, then they need to have strong gluteus medius muscles. If they are a builder, then they need a strong back, etc. It's common that a runner just runs, so it could be likely that they aren't going to be as strong as they ideally should be. If the patient says that they do strength work, then you need to question deeper. You need to find out how much resistance, what their rep max is, have they increased the load much over time, how often do they train, and what exact exercises they perform. Next, if they always feel that their muscles get tight and they need to stretch, then this may highlight issues such as fatigue-induced muscle disorder, which creates firm, tight muscle. If this is the case, then stretching may not be the answer, and strengthening might be the best option, according to Mueller, Wolfart et al. 2013. So already you might feel that you have a deficit in strength before you have even performed any testing. Strength objective. Before going into specific testing, you can look at some functional movements such as gait, squat, lunge, single leg squat, etc. See if they are moving correctly in each body segment. This may alert you to an issue that needs targeting. For example, if they lunge and the lumbar spine arches, then this highlights weakness in the abdominals. Another example, in single leg squat, is the knee moving medially may highlight weakness in the gluteus medius. Next we will go through traditional basic manual muscle testing, which you will need to be careful with due to the fact that it is not functional strength and reliability can be an issue. One common way to assess strength is the break test. This is when an examiner resists the force until no increase in force is felt. This should only take 1 second. At this point, an additional small force is exerted, which should also last for no longer than 1 second. If a muscle is considered strong, then the patient can adapt to the additional force, and if the muscle is weak, then it is unable to resist the extra pressure, according to Daniels and Worthingham 2002. However, it doesn't take a genius to find flaws in this technique. For example, if a strongman came in and performed this test, I would have to push really hard and the extra force may still be too much. Clearly they are strong, clue is in the title. However, I could push on someone who is very weak, so light force, apply the extra force, and they may be able to resist the extra force. Maybe, but maybe not. But this is not the point. The point is that these two are hugely different in strength, and yet the test doesn't pick up on this. The definition of strength is not can you contract above a maximum voluntary contraction, it is more how much total force can be produced in a maximum voluntary muscle contraction. So is this test procedure valid? Another common way to assess strength is the Oxford scale, as seen here. The problem here is that it is only sensitive in very weak muscles. Grade 5s can be weak for the activities performed in a person's life. Now if we apply force and try to detect how much force is strong and how much isn't, then we will encounter problems. A great example of this would be getting a 20 stone person and testing quadriceps versus an 8 stone person. Clearly what would be strong for an 8 stone person would be insufficient for the 20 stone, so the force will be different. This makes it unreliable. Can you use the good side as their normal? Not as much as you might think. Allison et al. 2015 looked at hip abductor strength in 50 individuals with unilateral gluteal tendinopathy. They found deficits in the symptomatic hip at 32% and asymptomatic hip at 23% compared with controls. So even the good side is weaker than normal. Heels et al. 2014 found the same results and theorized that it is likely that these are partly centrally mediated. I would say that the length of time that the problem has been symptomatic for will be important for the good side being weaker. This will be because enough time for the central nervous system changes and more disuse atrophy from avoiding usual activities in general. Next, you will need to go to the videos for the testing procedures for each individual muscle group, starting with the gluteus maximus.